Hey, welcome. Today, we're going on a bit of a microscopic adventure. We're going to peel back the layers, literally, of a super common vegetable and find a hidden world inside. And what's really cool is that this world connects that onion directly to you. So, let's get into it. So let's just kick things off with a question. What could you, a person, possibly have in common with an onion? I know, it sounds like the start of a bad joke, right? But the answer is actually one of the biggest ideas in all of biology. And there it is. You're both made of cells. Yep, as different as we look on the outside, when you get right down to the microscopic level, you, me, and that onion in your kitchen are all built from the same fundamental building blocks. So, if we really want to understand what an onion is made of, we first have to get our heads around this one massive concept in science. And that concept is cell theory. It's this core idea that says every living thing, from the tiniest little bacterium to a giant blue whale, is made up of these little units. Cells are kind of like the tiny engines where all the stuff that we call life actually happens. And today, we are not just going to talk about it. We've got a mission. We're actually going to see these cells for ourselves. Our goal is pretty simple, but it's really cool. We're going to prepare a proper microscope slide of an onion peel, and we're going to see these basic building blocks of life with our very own eyes. So, how do we actually do that? Well, let's walk through the whole process step by step. This is how you get a piece of an onion ready for its big debut under the microscope. Okay, first things first. You take a nice thick layer from the onion and you just snap it. When you do that, you'll see the super thin, almost see-through membrane. You got to carefully peel that off, forceps work best, and pop it straight into some water. And that last part is super important because it keeps the cells from drying out and shriveling up on us. And this is exactly what we're going for. See that delicate, transparent layer? That's the onion's epidermis. Think of it like the onion's skin. It's perfect for our mission because it's only one cell thick, which means light can pass right through it, and that's exactly what you need for a microscope to work. But wait a minute, there's the catch. Most of the really interesting parts inside a cell are basically transparent. So if we just put this under the microscope right now, we wouldn't see much of anything. So how do we fix that? We use a stain. It's like a dye for cells. By adding a drop of something like methylene blue, different parts of the cell soak up that color. The nucleus in particular really grabs onto it, which makes it pop. So after a couple minutes, we move the peel onto a clean slide with a drop of glycerin that helps keep it preserved, and then very, very carefully, we lower a cover slip on top, trying our best to avoid any of those annoying air bubbles. Okay, all that prep work, it all comes down to this moment. The slide is ready, the microscope is in focus, it is time for the big reveal. So, are you ready to see what's been hiding inside that onion this whole time? And there it is. Wow, just take a look at that. Welcome to the hidden microscopic city inside a single onion peel. Every single one of those little rectangular bricks you see is one living plant cell. So let's break down what we're seeing. First, notice that distinct shape. They're kind of rectangular, right? Like bricks in a wall. And just like a well-built wall, they're packed together super tightly with no gaps in between. And inside each one, thanks to our stain, you can clearly see that little dark dot. That's the nucleus. And you can also see the strong outer border, which is the cell wall. Okay, now that we've had this amazing view, let's make sure we really know what we're looking at. Let's decode the different parts of a single one of these cells. So I have a little pop quiz for you. Based on what we've just seen and talked about, do you think you can figure out which one of these diagrams has all the labels in the right spots? All right, let's start with options A and B. Take a really close look at where the arrows are pointing for the cell wall, the nucleus, and that big open space, the vacuole. What do you think? What about C and D? Again, check those labels. Think about where the cell membrane should be compared to the cell wall. Where would the nucleus be? Go ahead and lock in your answer. And if you chose diagram C, you nailed it. That is absolutely correct. This one perfectly shows the layout of a classic onion cell. So what makes C the winner? Well, it correctly points out that the tough, rigid outer layer is the cell wall. Then, just inside that, you have the cell membrane. That really obvious dot is the nucleus, the cell's brain basically, and that huge open area is the vacuole, which is like a big storage tank for water and nutrients. You know, we started this whole thing by saying you and an onion are both made of cells. We just took a really close look at the onions. So that leaves me with one final question for you to think about. We just saw that rigid brick-like cell wall. Why would a plant need a structure like that? And do you think your own cells have one? The answer to that really gets to the heart of what makes a plant and an animal an animal.